So we were discussing the output prices and profit in perfect competition and what will be the effect of changes in plant size. So from changes plant size, whenever doing so is profitable for the firm. If average total costs exceed the minimum long run average cost, the firm changes plant size to lower average costs and increase economic profit. Here you can see here, this is the short run profit maximizing point where marginal revenue is equal to the marginal cost and short run average cost is at its minimum point. So if the price of $25 is sweeter, the firm is making zero economic profit with the current plant size. But if the long run average cost curve is sloping downward at the current output, the firm can increase profit by expanding the plant size. So the most important point here is that the firm cannot increase the price by their own. So that is why they are just playing with their output or their quantity supply. So if the long run average cost curve is going downward, it means there is a potential profit. So if the firm can increase their plant size, they can get more economic profits. So as the plant size increases, the firm's short-term supply increases, the average total cost falls, and economic profit increases. You can see here the new short-term supply. This is the marginal cost one, and the short-term average cost is below the marginal revenue. So this is the profit or the short-term economic profit the firm will get by enhancing their plant sizes. As all firms in the industry change their plant size, so the industry supply will increase, and that in that case, because of higher supply in the market price will fall, and the economic profit for each firm will be decreased now. So in that case, the price will be going down here from $25 to $20, and the short-term economic profit the firm already got will be exhumed, and now they will be again on zero economic profit condition. So long run equilibrium occurs when each firm is producing at minimum long run average cost, that is this one, long run average cost that's minimum, and is making zero economic profit, because at that point marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. You can see here this is marginal revenue and this is marginal cost. So, and the long run average cost is at its minimum level. So the long run equilibrium occurs in a competitive industry when economic profit is zero. So firms neither enter nor exit the industry because there is no point of coming or going out from the industry. And the long run average cost is at its minimum level. So firms don't change their plant size anymore. So what would be the condition if a permanent change in demand, the decrease in demand shifts the market demand curve leftward, the price falls and the quantity decreases. So we can see here. So because of changing tastes and advancing technology, this is happening that the demand curve is going downward or leftward. It means so the demand is declined from the initial level. So the what will happen in the firm in the market because of this lower demand. So you can see here the price has reduced. Because of this lower price, the marginal revenue is also reduced, and because price and marginal revenue have already reduced, but the average total cost is higher than the marginal revenue, so the firm will face the uh, economic loss. So this is the phase of economic loss. So because of this economic losses, it induces some firms to exit, which decreases the industry supply, and the price start to rise again. So because of this economic losses in the industry, there are so many firms. So you can see here, this is the industry equilibrium, and this is the firm's equilibrium. Because of this economic losses, because the average total cost is higher than the marginal revenue, and this is the phase of economic loss. So many firms will be out from the market, and because they are just going out from the market, so the market supply curve will be shifting inward, because lower supply in that case, and this lower supply will change the uh, price again. In that case, the continue decrease as more firms exit, but the firms remaining in the industry start to increase quantity, because the more firms are going out of exit, more firms are exiting from the industry, so the existing firm will increase their output, and that increased output has rising the minimum average total cost from the not incur economic losses, and firms no longer exit the industry because of this. So many firms have exit from the industry, so the industry supply curve have shifted leftward, and the price has restored to the original level. In that point, the firm will be at zero economic profit or the zero economic losses. So the main difference between the initial new long-run equilibrium is the number of firms in the industry, because in so many firms have exited from the market, so the new equilibrium will have less firms than the earlier one. So fewer firms produce the quantity or the equilibrium quantity. In that case, the firms have more market share than the previous one, because the less number of firms in the market or in the industry. So what will happen if a permanent increase in demand has the opposite effect to those just described in the previous one? If the increase in demand occurs, it will shift the demand curve rightward, and the price rises and the quantity increases. In that case, the economic profit induces entry, which increase short-term supply and shift the short-term industry supply curve rightward. As industry supply increases, the price falls and the market quantity continues to increase. You can see here, with the falling price, each firm decreases production in a movement along the firm's marginal cost curve, that is the short-term supply curve. So the new long-run equilibrium occurs when the price has fallen to equal minimum average total cost, so that the firms do not make economic profit and firms no longer enter the industry. In that case, the main difference between the initial and new long-run equilibrium is the number of firms in the industry. In the new equilibrium, a larger number of firms produce the equilibrium quantity, but they have the less economic market share than the previous one. What will happen if external economies and what is the impact of external economies and diseconomies? So the change in the long run equilibrium price following a permanent change in the demand depends on external economies and external diseconomies. So external economies is the condition when or the factors beyond the control of an individual firm that lowers the firm's costs as the industry output increases. Also, the external diseconomies are factors beyond the control of a firm that rise the firm's costs as industry output increases. In the absence of external economies or external diseconomies, a firm's costs remain constant as industry output changes. So the long-run supply curve shows how the quantity supplied by an industry varies as the market price varies after all the possible adjustments that have been made, including changes in plant size and the number of firms in the industry. You can see here, so it shows the this figure shows the market equilibrium in the absence of external economies or external diseconomies. An increase in demand does not change the price in the long run. You see here, because of higher demand, and you can see because of higher demand, so the more from in the market, so there's again the restoring of the market supply, and then we have the same price which we have earlier one. So the long run industry supply curve is horizontal, or it is equivalent to the price level. So the long run price is not changing here in case of external, yeah, absence of external economies or external diseconomies. It shows the when external diseconomies are present, an increase in demand brings a higher price in the long run. It's because of external diseconomies. So you can see here the long run supply has shifted outward but with the higher price. So the long run industry supply curve is upward sloping. Here you, you see here this is a little bit tilt to upward side, so that is why we can say this is upward sloping long run industry supply curve. This figure shows that when external economies are present, increase in demand brings a lower price in the long run. So how we can see here, because of these external economies, is more from the producing the supplies or more from the supplying the market. So that is how the new equilibrium is below than the previous one, and the price has reduced from the earlier equilibrium price. So the long run industry supply curve is downward sloping. You see here, this is the long run industry supply curve, which is downward sloping. What will be the effect of technological changes? So the new technologies are constantly discovered at lower cost. A new technology enables firms to produce at a lower average cost and a lower marginal cost. So the firm's cost curve shift downward. So the firms that adopt the new technology make an economic profit. So the new technology firm enters and old technology firms either exit or adopt the new technology. Because the industry supply increases and the industry supply curve shifts outward. So the price falls and the quantity increases. Eventually, a new long-run equilibrium emerges in which all firms use the new technology. The price equals minimum average total costs, and each firm makes zero economic profit. So how the firm uses efficient use of resources. So the resources are used efficiently when no one can be made better off without making someone else worse off. This is Pareto optimality. We can also say this is a Pareto optimality where no one can be made better off without making someone else worse off, because the market was at efficient level. So this situation arises when marginal social benefit equals marginal social cost. So what is the level of, or what is the role of choices, equilibrium and efficiency? We can say that it describes the efficient use of resources in terms of the choices of consumers and firms coordinated in market equilibrium. So what are the choices? So consumers demand curve shows how the best budget allocation changes as the price of a good changes. So consumers get the most value out of their resources at all points along their demand curve. With no external benefits, the market demand curve is the marginal social benefit curve. In a competitive from supply curve shows how the profit maximizing quantity changes as the price of a good changes. So firms get the most value out of their resources at all points along their supply curve. In that case, with no external cost, the market supply curve is the marginal social cost curve. So what will be the equilibrium and efficiency in a competitive equilibrium? Resources are used efficiently. The quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied. So the marginal social benefit must be equal to the marginal social cost. So the gain from trade for consumer is measured by the consumer surplus, and the gain from trade for producer is measured by the producer surplus. And the total gain from trade equals total surplus, and in the long run equilibrium total surplus is maximized. So you can see here, so it illustrates an efficient allocation of resources in a perfectly competitive industry where price equal to marginal revenue and long run average cost is at minimum level, marginal cost equal to marginal revenue, and short run average cost is also at its minimum point. So each firm is producing at the lowest possible long run average total cost at the price P static and the quantity Q static. So this figure or this graph shows that the along the market demand curve D, this one. So it is also equal to the marginal social benefit, and market supply curve is also equal to the marginal social cost curve, that is producers are efficient. And the quantity Q static and price P statics are competitive equilibrium values. So this is Q static and this is P static. So competitive equilibrium is efficient. So the total surplus is the sum of the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. And we all know that consumer surplus is the area below the demand curve and above the price level. And the producer surplus is the area above supply curve and below the price level. So the division or the total surplus will be the sum of consumer surplus and producer surplus. Thank you so much.